Chapter 7. Never Grow Up. Barry woke with a start, clutching at his neck and gasping for breath. His heart hammered in his chest. Cold sweat slicked his skin. He felt as if he could still hear the thumping and feel the shadowy hooks slashing at him from under his bed. The last thing he remembered was the sword stabbing at his neck and Hook's threats of revenge. It was just a bad dream, he whispered to himself. It wasn't real. The trip to the museum must have stirred up his dreams, transforming them into terrible nightmares. He sat up, taking a deep breath of relief, but then his eyes fell on something that made his heart hammer even harder. His pillow was shredded. Feathers and ragged strips of fabric littered the comforter and floor. His mouth went dry. He reached down to touch the feathers and make sure they were real, that he wasn't imagining things, and something sharp dug into his palm. "Ouch!" he yelped, yanking his hand back. Pain shot up his arm. Barry clutched his hand close to him as blood pooled in the palm. At first, he thought that Captain Hook was attacking him again, but then his eyes fell on the rusty hook hidden under the feathers. He'd pricked his hand on it. As blood trickled down his arm, he struggled to make sense of everything. He must have grabbed the hook and shredded the pillow in his sleep, thrashing around from his nightmare. He must have been haunted by his guilt over stealing the hook from the museum. That was the only way to explain the nightmares and his sleep thrashing. He had to return the hook, and as soon as possible, even if it got him into trouble. Looking around at the mess he'd made, Barry felt silly and embarrassed. He was just glad nobody was around to witness it, especially Rita. "Goober, scared of a stupid pirate ship?" she teased him relentlessly. He'd never ever live it down. He had to hide the evidence. After running to the bathroom for a bandage for his hand, he went back to his room and quickly swept the feathers up, tossing them in the trash. Then he stashed the hook along with the parchment letter into his backpack and zipped it closed. He was determined to do the right thing. "I'll fix it," he promised himself, feeling better already. "I'll find a way to put the hook back." For the first time since touring the pirate ship, he almost felt back to normal. That's when he remembered. It's my birthday! In the aftermath of the nightmare, he had almost forgotten. He glanced at the mirror, peering at his reflection. He was 12 years old now. He pressed at his chubby cheeks and stuck out his tongue. Well, he didn't look any different, and he certainly didn't feel any different, but he was definitely a year older. On Friday, he'd be graduating from elementary school. Kindergarten felt like only yesterday, and now he was almost in junior high. Time passed, no matter if you were ready for it or not, and it passed fast. Barry's father was right. He wanted to hit the pause button, or better yet, rewind, but that was impossible. There's nothing to do except grow up, he thought, whether I want to or not. Mournfully, Barry glanced at his backpack. It had been ridiculous to believe that a rusty old hook had any power at all, let alone the power to stop him from growing up. At least he'd get chocolate cake after school and time with his best friends doing what they loved most, hanging out at the skate park. And then tomorrow night, they were going to the Lost Boys concert. They'd been looking forward to it for months. That was a bright spot in all of this. Despite his reservations, Barry felt excitement swirl inside his chest. There would be a stack of presents waiting for him downstairs in the kitchen. And his mom always cooked his special birthday breakfast, chocolate chip pancakes. They were his childhood favorite. When he was a kid, he used to get to eat them all the time. Now they were reserved for special occasions. Maybe growing up wasn't so bad after all. At least he'd get a party to celebrate it. And chocolate. Lots of chocolate. Barry crinkled his nose up when he walked into the kitchen. His mother stood by the coffee maker, watching it percolate like her life depended on it. She looked even more tired than normal. Dad sat at the kitchen table with his tablet and a big stack of bills, while Rita was still struggling over the last problem in her algebra homework. That was all perfectly normal, but there were no pancakes cooking on the stove. That was weird. There were also no presents piled on the kitchen table. Weirder yet, nobody greeted him with wishes of happy birthday. Nobody even looked at him. They were probably too distracted by work and homework and coffee making. His mother needed to down at least 2 cups to be functional. He just needed to remind them. "I'm excited for my birthday party after school today," Barry said in an enthusiastic voice. That should get their attention. He was never this cheerful so early. He reached over to pour himself some cereal. "I can't wait for my triple fudge cake after school." "What do you mean, honey?" Mom looked up from the coffee maker and frowned. "Yeah, what birthday party?" Dad said, looking over. He set his tablet down. "Oh, does one of your friends have a birthday today?" It's my birthday," Barry said slowly. He stared at his parents, wondering if aliens had possessed them. "I'm turning 12 today, don't you remember?" He let out a chuckle. Sure, they were playing a trick on him. It was probably Rita's idea, but nobody else laughed. "You know, 'cause that's what happens on your birthday," Barry said, starting to get a weird feeling. "You turn a year older?" Now even Rita looked up with a concerned expression. "Cooper, it's not your birthday. You're still only 11. "Yeah, silly, it's not your birthday." His mother reached over to ruffle his hair. Barry stared at them in disbelief. It had to be a prank. They were good, too. They weren't breaking the act. He hurried over to the wall calendar, determined to prove them wrong. He tapped on the square for today. "Look, over here, on the calendar," Barry said. "It says it's my birthday." But then his voice dried up in his throat. The square for today was blank. Nothing was written there about his birthday. He was certain that it had been there only yesterday, complete with balloon drawings. He stared at the calendar in shock. It was like his birthday had been erased. No, not erased. That would leave some mark or sign behind. It was as if it had never been written there in the first place. You can drop the act now," Barry said, his pulse beginning to race. He felt dizzy. "I get it. Nice prank. Very funny, Rita. Now, where did you hide my birthday presents?" He started searching the kitchen for them, looking in the cabinets and rifling through the drawers. Then he peered under the kitchen table. But there were no presents. His family watched him like he was going crazy. "Prank?" Rita said. "You're clearly the one pranking us. Nice try trying to get extra presents out of the parental units, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to work." "But it's not a trick," Barry said, straightening up. He felt dizzy suddenly, like he'd just gotten off the tilt-a-whirl. "I swear, it's true. It's my birthday. I'm turning 12 today. I'm having a birthday party after school with Michael and John at the skate park. Mom is getting me a triple fudge cake." Dad shot him a weird look. "Kiddo, I hate to break it to you, but it's not your birthday. Are you feeling okay?" "Honey, I'm pretty sure I'd remember the day you were born," Mom chimed in. I am your mother after all. I was there when you came into this world. It was one of the best days of my life." "Yeah, and I'd remember the day they brought you home from the hospital," Rita said in her best sarcastic voice, "and effectively ruined my life." Barry stared at them all in shock. Nothing in their expressions indicated that they were anything other than deadly serious. They really didn't remember his birthday. But how? Why? Out of nowhere, his stomach clenched. His eyes darted to his backpack, which held the hook. It couldn't be. Could it? Did my wish come true? 100 other questions rushed through his head, one after the other. Does this mean I can stay a kid forever? And that I never have to grow up? "You're going to be late for school," Mom said. "Come on," Rita said with an eye roll. Let's get you to kiddie school.